I'm delighted to be joined by Bromley FC Chairman and owner Robin Stanton-Gleaves. Mr. Chairman, thank you for joining me this evening. Firstly, the elephant in the room, the wonderful surroundings here, unusual surroundings but beautiful. It's been a hugely successful day, but I'll let you elaborate on that.
Yes, we've been here at the Langley Park Golf Club doing our annual football club golf event, which is the second year, and I think it's been a terrific day. We look over to the veranda where all our sponsors, supporters and people that have taken part in today's match together with the players and the management. It's been a terrific day, and you're right, what a great setting. And I'd like to thank everybody that's got involved today. We've had a super day.
It has been unique, hasn't it? Just seeing everyone from across the club and across the fan base really coming together, and like you said, smiles on faces everywhere.
Yeah, I always talk about the wider community. You know, the football club generally sometimes concentrates on the first 11, the game, like we are on Saturday for the first game of the season away at Shrewsbury. But I've always maintained it's about growing our brand beyond the football, beyond match day experience, and to the wider community across the London Borough of Bromley. And today we've done that with the people who've got involved and engaged. And I love seeing it. It's terrific.
Today's interview is about looking back and looking ahead to the season in a general perspective, but just briefly, I know we wanted to touch on the East Terrace, and supporters will have some news in the coming days, won't they?
Yeah, I've got some meetings towards the end of this week. I've got a final meeting on Monday to find out where we really are, we genuinely are, in the lead up to the opening and being able to allow the spectators to use the facility and enjoy watching the football. It's a crucial moment for us. I'd be a liar if I said it's great news. I think we've got some really tough chats in the coming days. But once we've had those chats, then we'll let all the supporters know, including yourself, of where we really are with the East Stand.
Looking back at last season, the promotion, of course, in May 2024, all of the changes and all of the work that went into that summer, and then the football. We finally get to the football. What's your overall take on our first season in the FL, a historic year for the football club?
Somebody said earlier, you must be chuffed with the finish. And I think I made the comment I'd have paid a few quid at the start of the season to finish 11th. We started off superbly. We then hit a bump in the road, and I think we went on a series of non-results. And from being fourth at the highest point after 2 games, we came down and down and down. And I'll be a liar if I said that there wasn't times I was a little bit worried. But equally, I always had great confidence in our manager and how he would go about dealing with whatever situation he came across. I thought he equipped himself superbly, really, really well. I didn't think the players equipped themselves. And I thought we grew up really quickly in learning about EFL2 and the difference between the National League and the league we were now in. And then we had that terrific run after the end of January through to the end of the season, and finishing 11th I thought was outstanding. And on that journey, of course, we had a 3rd round FA Cup tie against Newcastle as well. I couldn't have been more chuffed about the season and prouder of the season, because once again it was another step in the continuous trajectory of Bromley Football Club.
You talk about learning about League Two there and the differences from the National League, and I think when we're in the National League we know the standard of football is very good, but people seem to make comments saying it's not much of a step up, but actually there are some quite big differences, aren't there?
I disagree. I think it is a step up. I think there's a number of parts to that. The first one is, I think the substitutes made a significant difference, and in the game of rugby they've used the word as substitute as a finisher. I think that's something that we need to look at as a football club. I think what we've done over the January window and this summer, I think we've strengthened the opportunity of our bench, and I think the manager will have finishers on the bench where other clubs had it, and we didn't last year, I have to say. So I think that's a significantly difference. A statistic was put to me that the ball is in play 69 minutes in a League 2 game. In a National League game, it's in play for 49 minutes. That's a big increase, so we had to come to terms with that. I suppose the last point is, I think it's a little bit more clinical in League 2. You give a team a chance and they take it. So the concentration level to ensure that you don't give a team a chance is important. Equally, when we have our chance, we have to take it. Unfortunately, we had Michael Cheek last season, and his clinicalness was what it was. EFL Player of the Year, Golden Boot of the Year, and he was our player.
You talk about League Two, and actually some of the teams in League Two from last season and this season, really big clubs. How was it for you last year to go with Bromley to these stadiums like Bradford City and, of course, Newcastle United in the FA Cup?
Oh, superbly proud. I was born in Bromley, I grew up in Bromley, I believe I'm a Bromley boy, I've always maintained that, and I'm hugely proud of that. There are times when you go to those other clubs that you could argue that you're little old Bromley compared to them, but I don't think we behave like that. Andy Woodman doesn't behave like that, the players don't behave like that. If we're there, we have a right to be there, so enjoy the right. Enjoy the right and behave and act and play as you should. Having said that, we come from a humble starting position, and so I think what we do well is we always remember and recognise where we're at, but we don't get overawed with where we're at. And I think Andy Woodman and the team have to have a huge credit for getting that balance.
You've always backed Andy Woodman, and this summer has been no exception to that. Some of the players that have come in, the likes of Will Hondermark, Kyle Cameron, Mitchell Pinnock, amongst others, of course, Ben Crowhouse coming back.
Yeah.
Established players, Ben being an exciting young prospect, but the other three established players in the Football League, and including two who were in League One last year.
Yeah, I think Andy Woodman and I sat together at the beginning of January, and we had two transfer windows. And the first one was in January, and we did some business then. And the second one was in the summer. In January, we looked at a few younger players. We looked at Brooklyn Alunga. We looked at Marcus Eiffel. We brought in Nicky Kabamba, and Nicky not being one of the younger ones, but certainly a support act to Michael Cheek. And in the summer, we've then gone to a higher level of player, I think, and brought them in to take the levels of our squad up another step. And I think Andy's done that really, really well. But he's also planned it that way. And hopefully we'll see those established players come through this season. But don't underestimate the younger ones that we did in January, Brooklyn and Marcus. I suggest we watch this space with those two as well.
Looking at pre-season, what's your overall take? Of course, we've had the likes of Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Tottenham and Millwall come to the Copper Jacks Community Stadium, and of course the team have also gone out to Portugal, so it's been a hugely busy and gruelling schedule for the team, but also very exciting for the players and for the fans as well.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't travel to Portugal this year. The games we've seen at home, we have. Obviously the last one being the Millwall game, and as a personal Millwall fan, I thought it was lovely to see them bring their first 11, and they started their first 11, and at half time we were 0-0, and I thought that's a terrific credit to us as a football club against a team that I'm very fond of. So that was good to see, and prior to the Millwall game we were unbeaten in that run. I'm not sure the results were so important, although there's quite a good habit of winning, which I quite enjoy, but the results I think were one thing. The development and the players that took part and what Andy Woodman got out of it, it gives me confidence for going into this next season. We mustn't get carried away. I don't want to say like we come 11th, look at us, we're here, but this football club has to grow step by step, and so we have to go in this season with the attitude of doing better than 11th. And if that's 10th, that's great. If it's beyond that, well, that'd be even wonderful.
We sit here with the Shrewsbury game very close by now, and the start to next season, and looking at those August fixtures, of course, the opener at home to Barnet and then Ipswich Town in the Carabao Cup. What a fixture that is. Yeah. Are you excited now going into these fixtures to see what we can achieve this year? Yeah,
I am excited. Have to be a little bit cautious, don't want to get carried away. And by the way, the season won't be decided by the first couple of fixtures. We learned that last season. So we have to just remember it's a 46-game campaign. Win, draw or lose on Saturday won't decide our season. Win, draw or lose against Barnet at home will not decide our season. And the manager and the players will want to get off to a good start, but that won't decide our season. Our season will be across the 46 games. We mustn't lose sight of that. And there'll be times when strategic selection will have to happen and strategic behaviour will have to happen. And Andy will know that and he'll adopt that, and I'll support him on that. And it's the end of the 46 games, we'll see where we're at. The Carabao Cup first round, Ipswich at home. I think that's a wow fixture for us. At my age, I grew up with Ipswich being a powerful League One team, managed by Bobby Robson, an icon of the game, and many famous names that played in that Ipswich side, which I could probably name them now. So for that club to come to us as our first round at home, I can't wait for that. Actually, that would be another way of marketing and showing Bromley Football Club to everybody else.
We've talked a lot about looking ahead on the pitch this season. Off the pitch, of course, equally important. What are your hopes for the club off the pitch in the next year?
I think it's obvious to everybody we have some development challenges. We've took those challenges on from the 1st of February this year. The stand is pivotal to that, not only from the spectator viewpoint, but the facilities behind it. When that's completed, and the whole project's completed around that, which I hope to be around about the middle of December, I think that's a significant step on the development of the football club off the pitch. And then we can turn our attention to the next part of the football ground, to what we develop. We start to increase the capacity and we start to increase the experience of supporters coming. And I think that's important as we go up and develop through EFL2. Wider off the pitch, I think the events that we're now holding at the football club and engage with people from them is superb and tremendous. And equally, the wider work of the community trust. For instance, today, where we're here today, I think the wider work of the community trust is getting better and better. It's easier and more successful when you've got a football team doing well. That doesn't underestimate some of the work that they do. And remember, they're engaging children from as young as 18 months. And then small kickers all the way through the ages up to our veterans at the highest age. And that's tremendous for me to see and keep on driving that.
You talk about community there, you talk about supporters, and the supporters last year, home and away, absolutely fantastic, weren't they? And we're very much going to need that again to back the team this year.
I think the supporters for us are terrific. I joined them on most of the away days last year, and at times I joined them on the terrace, and I think I bought them a beer or two at a couple of the games. And you see the faces there, you see the effort they make and the journeys they make. They are vital, and it must never be underestimated how the players appreciate that. They really do hear our fans. And even the glory fixture of Newcastle. I have some very dear friends at Newcastle that I've met over the years. And even this summer when I caught up with one of them, they spoke about how loud our fans were at St James's Park. Capacity of 52,000, we took nearest damn at 4,000, and they said we were as loud as any team that they've had there. And that's lovely for me to hear as the owner of the football club. So the supporters I value enormously. Yes, I don't always please them, and I don't always make them happy, and I know that. But please don't ever underestimate how much I value them for what they do week in, week out to support our football team.
When you took over as owner and chairman all those years ago, it was very clear you wanted to get the club into the league, and you've done that. And now, just interesting, sitting here in this off-season period, if you like, do you ever look back and take stock of all the things that have happened during that time, and has it gone really quickly for you?
If people know me, I'm the most impatient fella in the world, so it's probably not gone as quick as I would like. I think in the football world, it probably has gone quickly. And when you run a business, there's one thing that you often have to deal with, which is called growing pains. As a football club, we're going through a growing pain with the development of the East Stand not being at the speed I would like it. But yes, I probably do look back and think, yeah, done what I said I'd do. But maybe that's first base. Maybe there's a next base to go. And I look upon this season to say, right, we finished 11th last year. Let's make sure we don't have a second season syndrome. I think that's really important. Last season, we were new to everybody else. Our football ground was new to everybody else. We had the momentum of going up. So let's not get carried away that those factors have gone now. And now we're on a clean sheet of paper with everybody else. So I have to make sure that second season syndrome doesn't kick in for us. I don't think it will, actually. I think we have to understand the steps we need to make to finish better than 11th, and how much better can we do than that. On what second base? Well, second base is League One, and my manager knows that. He understands that, and I know what he wants, and that has to be now our focus. Develop the ground, develop the infrastructure, and develop the stability within the football team to genuinely compete to go to the next step.
Well, I think it's fair to say a hugely exciting season awaits us. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for your time today. It's been great catching up.
Thank you. Pleasure.